Hello everyone, I am AlecK47, and as you can probably tell by my accent, I am from America. I have with me Chaos Drifter for a little bit of help and banter and commentary.
Well, hello. How's it going, everyone?
If he's familiar, especially for this game, it's because he ran it about a month ago, a little over, at ESA Together. So,
well, I ran a KOTOR at ESA
KOTOR,
Together.
That's right.
I ran this for oh god, what was it? It was another marathon recently.
That's what it was. Yeah. So we start from a save file. This is my specially created ESA Corona Relief Shepherd. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started by loading this save in 3, 2, 1, go. Immediately going to throw a grenade at the ground because grenades put you in combat, and being in combat allows you to sprint, and that is the most useful thing grenades will do. I'm also going to be skipping text really quickly here because I have a Logitech G502 mouse, and I have dialogue skipping bound to the scroll wheel.
It's also worth noting, real quick, since we're about to watch a bunch of cutscenes and we'll just explain some tech, that he's going to be doing basically all of the movement that he can with his gun out. It allows for some strafe movement and gives him a lot better control. And also sprint management is going to be basically one of the most important things in a run. In this case, here he doesn't really have to do anything, but considering it's just one quick run. But later on, there's going to be a lot of times where he's trying to conserve sprint and use the grenades and trying to keep a good eye on that. Otherwise, enjoy the cutscenes, guys.
Yeah, there are unfortunately a lot of cutscenes early on in this run. It's the worst thing about it, if you ask me. So if you can imagine starting a game with a lot of cutscenes, then also having a like 3-minute 40-second, or maybe it's 2-minute 40-some second, I don't recall, intro. That's why we start from a save file right where the game puts you, because we don't want to watch that every single time we have to reset. There's also a trick really early on that would also can kill runs.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. I guess, I mean, we can kind of go ahead and talk about, like, if you're not familiar with this game, there's going to be a lot of clipping and out-of-bounds void walking. And so we use that in order to kind of skip a bunch of the main parts of the game and let us go ahead and get to the big action pretty quickly. And so that'll be used almost immediately, right after we get onto the planet.
Somebody was doing
pretty cool, though.
One of the quirks about this game, and it's true on both the PC and console versions, is that if you crouch, save, and then load the save in a corner, then weird things can happen. Not every corner works. Some of the ones that do work don't really lead to anything useful, but others do lead to very useful things. Also gonna hopefully shoot this gas bag. Good. The other day when I was practicing, I actually I tried to shoot that gas bag and actually overheated my weapon without even hitting it. So there's a little bit of RNG on pistol accuracy here, and usually it's not that unfriendly. Usually it's also not quite so friendly that my first shot hits, but hey, we take them when we get them.
Now we all say goodbye to Jenkins. I'm so sorry, Jenkins. You lived a good life.
Yep. I'm gonna have Caden use his power there. Use that level up to get Marksman and Singularity. Singularity is my bonus talent. I'm also gonna map these to hotkeys real quick. Beating this game gives you bonuses, and it's just easier to run with them than it is to completely reset your save file, your profile every single time. So this is the first corner that I was talking about earlier. I'm just going to quick save here, and it's going to put me on top of that rock that I was up against. And this is out of bounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up here, line myself up, and hopefully just run right up this seam. Nope. Okay. Got back up there. Cool. So that trick can kill the run pretty early on.
Very nice. That's really hard. I don't. I have messed that up for hours and hours practicing that the first time. That was a really good attempt.
It's pretty precise. I just have a couple visual cues on where I look, and the vast majority of the time it at least doesn't knock me down. So Ashley is down there. Don't worry, even though I'm running past her, she'll catch up later. If you paid attention to the bid war of male versus female shepherd, the text was girl power or a funny cutscene on Eden Prime. You decide. I got fatigued there because of lag. That usually happens. Not a big deal. The funny cutscene is because Ashley would not be around for the cutscene coming up here in a second, or in a few minutes at the end of Eden Prime with the beacon. So, that's fun. I also had to aggro those husks, so that's why I shot to get them off their dragon's teeth. Since I don't have Ashley, that cutscene just kind of doesn't do anything. Do a little shot there to get sprint. Now there's this only one Geth Destroyer here loaded currently. Oh, come on. Alright.
Oof, that's rough.
So I'm going to use a Metagel there before I save and load. The reason I have to save and load is because I do need to kill the Geth later on the tram. And
this combat's really precise. It's possible to die here if you mess it up, or at least get very close. It always feels much scarier than it is, though. If you're trying to do it at like the fastest speeds.
Yeah, I slowed down a little bit from what was optimal there, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, it was still good.
You notice that I finished my sprint right as I got to the console. I would not have been able to use that console if I hadn't saved, loaded, and killed all the Geth, except the two that spawned, in front of me when I loaded in before I turned around to head the right way. Those two you don't have to kill for whatever reason. I guess they're far enough away. But the rest you have to kill in order to use the tram, and because they're not loaded, you have to load them in. And if I had not loaded the, or aggroed the husks earlier, then I wouldn't have been able to save and load there.
Something we haven't really mentioned quite yet is the biotics are extremely powerful in this game. Throw and Singularity especially, since they put the enemies in basically a stun state and they take extra damage.
There we go.
So absolutely fantastic. And here we're going to do a little bit of micro with Caden, so that way while we're disarming the bombs, Caden will hopefully kill those guys.
Hopefully.
The only reason he really wouldn't is if his AI doesn't send to the right spot properly, but that's usually not a problem.
Yeah, every now and then you'll just see your ally shooting a wall, because, it's a video game that happens. No, not. Other side. There.
There we go. Another thing to note is that the other two powers that we have Warp, which does some damage over time, as well as reduces some of their resistances. So that can be useful later on for some of the boss fights or some of the bigger enemies. And then we also have Marksman, which after you got really lucky with that first shot on the gas bag. Well, now you never will have to worry about missing a shot again, as long as you line up within the circle there. So we get a nice little auto-aim feature with her pistol, which makes it insanely powerful.
Roger, Normandy.
It basically increases your ability to shoot fast and shoot accurately, so it ups the DPS to be really, really good. This would have been Invisible Ashley if you can see Ashley still isn't here regardless. For whatever reason, the cutscene just doesn't load Ashley if you don't recruit her. And it's especially funny when you see Shepard throwing nothing. But at least you do still see Caden kind of cradling nothing. Anyway, you may have noticed that I did not have to deal with the husks there at the end. That's because I got out of combat by killing the Geth quickly enough that I was able to investigate the beacon before the husks that are now just quietly standing there became active. That's another little optimization that saves a few seconds.
So now we need to learn who the big bad guy is. And we need to make sure that we know that he's bad. Okay, this guy, he's clearly not good. I can't believe that they made them a specter. Just absolutely crazy. Just look at him. He's so angry.
Red light, angry, smash.
I love the fact that like he basically just has mood lights inside of his room.
I mean, there's a plot reason for it if you think about it later, but it's not really into that yet. You can see a little bit of like weirdness going on in the back of his head that kind of look like mechanical pipes.
Honestly, I've forgotten almost completely about the plot of this game at this point. I just do game fast.
Indoctrination.
You had us worried there, Shep.
How are you feeling?
The beacon exploded.
Hope you all appreciate the face. I made sure to put a little effort into the face. Just kind of a little bit of a tradition. We don't always have... Like, usually when I'm just doing normal attempts, I just use the default face because I'm lazy, but when I do a marathon run, I like to give people a little bit of extra something to look at and probably laugh at.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Of course I am, Caden. What did you expect? I mean, I could have fallen off into the void and had to load, but I have time travel powers, so that wouldn't have been a big deal. It just would have been slow. Anyway, so Ashley has caught up. You haven't really seen it yet, but she is around.
About to bring us into the Citadel.
So
She was just on the ship the whole time.
Yeah. In fact, if I had gone downstairs where she hangs out, I believe she's there. And if I'd been male shepherd, then Caden and Ashley would have both been standing kind of right outside the doctor's office. Caden in his usual spot, and Ashley in the "Hey, I'm romantic interest, you should talk to me" position that Caden was in.
Now we get another long cutscene of us looking at the Citadel for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The size of that ship.
The Ascension, flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Considering how important going to the Citadel is, I feel like it's still kind of strange that this is the first time that all of the characters go to the Citadel. They all seem like really shocked. You ever thought about that?
Well, I would say it's kind of like, there's only so much space on it, and so tourism would probably be a bit expensive, so it'd be kind of like New York, but harder to get to because they don't have the space to really foster a tourist industry. They're too heavily focused on, you know, governance and such. Also, in that sequence, Joker says, "Roger, Alliance Tower. Normandy out," after talking to the non-Alliance operator, and then the Alliance operator says to go to this dock. I don't know why it ended up sequenced that way, but it did.
Now I think we need to go ahead and let talk about the elephant in the room. We're not going to be going to Shepard's favorite shop in the Citadel, unfortunately. We don't have time for that.
That's also Mass Effect 2, anyway.
Oh, I know, but it's still not going to happen. It's so sad. We don't even get to pay a first visit.
Nope. So, obviously there's a bit of plot stuff that I have to take care of here. I'm going to go ahead and fast travel to the Citadel Tower and get spit out by the elevator because they want you to learn Garrus as a person. So I'm going to go and talk to him because I'm going to have to travel back here later, and if I don't talk to him here, I will get sent back to this spot. Also, this corner here, is one of those corners that does things. So I'm out of bounds now, and I'm going to go up to this corner that's a little bit too close.
But we're not out of bounds enough. We need to be more out of bounds.
And now I'm more out of bounds. This is falling down onto the area that you see if you take that elevator. So I'm going to fall down here and keep walking. So I'm traversing ground out of bounds, and that's going to allow me to get to Korra's den really quickly. I have not unlocked the fast travel point, and I don't even want to get there the normal way anyway, because if I come at it from above, I am able to go right to Fist. So I don't even know plot-wise why I need to go to Fist at this point. Shepard hasn't figured that out because we haven't talked to the Council the first time. We don't know we need evidence that Saren is a traitor, but we're going to get it anyway because I, as a player, know that I need it. So I can just go get it now. I'm going to run over here, making sure not to fall down, and clip back in bounds. So, Fist, say hi to my friend Singularity.
Yeah, Fist kind of gets wrecked by Singularity. He just floats up in the air. He had no idea that we were coming for him. We just break into his office, throw him into the air, and just start shooting him until he says we'll never see him again, which we won't.
Certainly not in this game.
Do you not do the level up here? You wait for it?
I am. I'm unlocking Barrier here. Barrier is because... Whoops, I wanted it there. I want Singularity to still be on a hotkey. Anyway, I have two sets of enemies here because there are enemies that spawn for when you enter the area and for when you leave the area. Okay, I was just using my Metagel there. You saw Shepard's arm go up, but I did not quite get it off on time. Fortunately, I can just hit resume last save, and I am back here in Fist's thing. That is an autosave, and that is why it is not the end of the run. Another reason I leave them on for marathon runs. This is something that just happens sometimes. There's only so much you can do about it. I have my Barrier, I have the Metagel, Sprint, I use Throw here to try to hit some of the enemies. This time I'm going to be good. And you can see even there, I'm at critical health coming out of here. So that just goes to show how dangerous that section is. Also, there are these guys that we have to take out. Oh, Singularity's recharged because I had to load the save. That's right. Normally, Singularity needs a moment to recharge there.
Sometimes these assassins are jerks. Like this.
Yeah.
Usually we can just shoot them from afar and then just use Warp to kill the last one, but sometimes they'll take cover.
This guy, I have not seen him be this obnoxious in years.
Oh, nice. Okay, that usually kills me because he's got a shotgun and it hurts. If he gets 2 shots off on you, you're dead, unless you can pull up a barrier. So here, Alec's going to be wanting to line up a throw right before the cutscene begins playing. So that way he can just immediately take out the 2 guys before the combat really starts.
Yeah, the goal here is to insta-kill the 2 Solarians and knock down the Thorian assassin. The assassin can actually kill you if you don't kill him quick enough. There's a little bit of pistol accuracy RNG at play in this, as well as just occasionally biotics not playing nice. This is looking to be pretty good, though. Use Barrier just to be safe.
Now we found out that Fist set her up. We actually did the right thing, apparently.
Yep, we have the evidence that we didn't know we needed.
But I salvaged something from its audio banks.
And we also got Tally, who's going to be one of the main party members for us for quite a while.
Yep. Ashley is pretty much a hit point sponge, and if she's shooting a wall, then she's not doing anything useful. Tali has her tech powers, so she is by default more useful than Ashley in a speedrunning setting. Though there's not any combat here, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll just pick them because they're next to each other on the menu. And if you're wondering why I'm throwing my grenades at such specific places, it's because your grenades will often clip through the floor. Because, I guess because this port is made by a company that is mostly responsible for DS shovelware other than this port. Also, I'm starting this cutscene, and it's going to start loading another cutscene
The Geth attack is
in the middle of it, so it gets confused. So we can actually break out of this first cutscene and then do another trick in order to try to skip the second cutscene.
We have,
this is pretty precise.
So yeah, we have to do that first in order to not freeze the game. The game will actually hard lock if you don't load that. And then I open the map and talk to Anderson at the same time by just hitting 2 keys on my keyboard at the same time. Then I clicked the little exclamation point to get out of my map, and that's going to make this cutscene not quite load right. Now I can do the stuff at the end, and I can just wait a little bit, and there's going to be an autosave after I hit escape there. And now I can just load this autosave, and I am a Spectre.
That trick there actually saves about a minute, so any kind of cutscene skips in this game are just so good, but they're unfortunately kind of rare. He would try to hold on to the last little bit of a sprint here, so that way he can use some more sprint immediately after, because it's highly unlikely that he'll get a full sprint bar back up.
Yep.
And now we're going to do another out-of-bounds clip here in order to go straight to the Normandy.
Instead of having to talk to people and ride an elevator. Elevators are long, slow, boring, and ubiquitous in this game, but fortunately the speedrun manages to skip most of them. So I got zipped up to the top of the map there, and then I fell onto that little thing that crosses the Presidium, lined myself up properly, and
got it.
Yep, I should be in a nice, easy location to just walk over here, crouch, uncrouch, and now I'm in the Normandy, which is below every single map in the game, so you can just fall to it from theoretically any map, and I'm able to hit the galaxy map.
That void walk is a lot more precise than you made it seem. If you kind of are off like just a few degrees for your angle there, you'll either wind up in the hangar, on top somewhere in the hangar, whether or not that's above the Normandy or below it, that depends. Or you'll wind up in just a different part of the Normandy, and you have to navigate and figure out where you can drop from. So that was a really good one.
Yeah, there are a couple other places you can land, and every now and then you'll just load inside collision and you're soft locked.
Yep. Luckily, you can just do the whole entire trick again and just reload your quick save. Mm-hmm. So the backups are pretty convenient. So unless you're going for like a sub 140 run, it's no big deal to reset these.
And I'm already on a dubious pace for sub 140 because of that death. So
yeah, that's okay.
A PB is still possible because I haven't ground the game since some of the new skips and tech were found. Haven't really ground the game ever, for that matter, but I've been running it on and off long enough that I know what I'm doing, at least.
I'll take my next leave here.
Also worth noting that for some reason, Ashley and Caden are still in your party here, even though you're on the Normandy and you shouldn't have a party, because we void clipped into it. It's kind of a neat little side effect of that.
Yeah, and a funny thing that happens in the all missions and assignments run is you clip into the you intentionally clip into the cargo bay to talk to Garrus, because you have to do that 3 times to get his mission. I'm also skipping this dialogue by weapon swapping frame perfectly. That is a free scroll wheel exclusive thing. It doesn't really save much time at all, like only a couple seconds, not really any in real time, but I'm just showing it off because it's a marathon run, and why not? But back to that, you actually can have Garrus with you while you're talking to Garrus. And the Garrus you talk to is not the Garrus that is with you in your party.
I've not seen that before.
Yeah, and you can bring Tali along with you to hand the Geth data over to Tali, and you can bring Rex along with you, although you don't have to talk to Rex down there at all, because you can just bring him along on the mission that gets you his ancestral armor. Also, throwing a grenade in front of that guard is one of the more consistent locations to throw a grenade and not have it clip through the floor there, which I find amusing. There are a couple ways to get into this bay with the Mako that I'm going towards. Some of them are long. One of them is just to run back and say, hey, this merchant is smuggling. It's like, okay, fine, you can have a garage pass. But we could also just walk through that wall with a save. So, yeah.
Yeah, our version of Shepard has some pretty magical powers, just phase through walls. So it's it you know, kind of helps him being able to get his job done. You could say he has almost Spectre-like qualities. Ah. Alright, so once he kills all these guys here, he'll be able to enter the Mako, and...
Well, I can enter the Mako at any time, but I need to kill all the enemies to open the door. And this door is supposed to be shut right now, but it'll open for me. If I had saved and loaded there, I would have actually not been able to open that door until I talked to Maiko Matsuo. But for whatever reason, you can just skip it.
And so, welcome to our favorite bouncy house, the Mako.
Yep.
This thing is interesting. It drives it drives like a bouncy house. Basically, any like little bit of terrain that looks like you can hop over, you're going to be hopping. If you're familiar with this game, you know exactly what we're talking about, though. But because we're speedrunners, we like that and hate it.
Yeah. So a good thing that comes up later is that it does kind of have momentum retention in ways that don't make sense physically, and that's a good thing because not only does it make it more like easy to deal with driving it, but it makes a skip much later kind of feasible. We also haven't heard... Yeah, go ahead. I was going to just
got a second for some donations here? Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Ide.
We have two donations from earlier. One from AlecK47 donating $30 saying, great stuff, Harvard. Showing off two wonderfully coded games in Oblivion and Sonic. Thanks, ESA, for the stream over the weekend. Thank you for those $30. Those went to the female male Shepherd incentive. Donating to the winning side, and now we have a donation that went to the losing side by Captain Novus donating $20 saying sci-fi shooters block, let's go. And of course he's referring to Mass Effect right now and Halo 2 coming up after this game. Ooh. And all of the donations are going to Save the Children for their corona relief. And yeah, if you enjoy what you're seeing and this is our last day, then today is your last chance to donate during this marathon for Save the Children and Corona Relief and support us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we still have a little bit of time in here. I'm killing most of the things, but I intentionally left a few enemies alive earlier because there's a little bit of mild XP routing. Nice.
Whoa! That's some swag there. A small little note here. There's a spot that's coming up. Oh my gosh, you really are flying. There's a small part up here that you're not going to do, but it is possible to completely jump the gap in between here. It's incredibly difficult, and you can find a video of Glasnock doing it if you search it on YouTube, and it saves like about 10 seconds. but it's never been done successfully in a run. So if you like really, really hard challenges that no one's ever successfully done in a run, well, this could be it. And it's the one he's just passing right now.
Yeah, so that one, when Letterswords did his GDQ run of this a couple years back, which I got to couch for, he was going for that in practice, and he came close a couple times, he said, but he never got it in like a good 2-3 hours of attempting it. So that should tell you how hard it is that one of the top runners of the game couldn't manage it.
Essentially, what you need to, I mean, we just need stuff to talk about, but essentially what you need to do is you need to jump off at a specific angle, hit the wall so that way it pops you up, and then boost just barely enough that you hit the cliff face, and then hope that the Mako doesn't like fall off and fall into the death plane. You can just barely make it onto the other side of the cliff to drive up it. But if you miss it at all, then well, you die, and it's a pretty big time loss.
If you're wondering what happened to the graphics, that is just a consequence of this port being old and not the best coded. And it has to do with graphics drivers and processors. Essentially, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it is amusing and happens basically on all... Oh, I didn't put that where I wanted to. So I wanted to do a funny thing where the Krogan runs towards you and always gets hit by a box, but I misplaced my singularity. The box knocks him down, and it's funny and helps you kill him quickly. I also did a quick save there just for safety because I have had to do that entire section again in a marathon run just because I used this elevator and the elevator soft locked me. Elevators not functioning properly is a thing that can happen in this game, and it is not fun. That one is one of the worst offenders for sure.
Yeah, we're just running around on Noveria. Nothing really too crazy going on. Just trying to pick up little bits of XP and making our way to the next elevators. Yeah. We are about to do another void walk here in a moment, though. And this one's pretty cool. I like this one just because it's so long, but it's such a it saves so much time relative to doing this the casual method. So kill some Racknight workers here, and then we can just walk between these two machine parts. I still don't know what these things are. And we can just clip right out and do a huge void walk.
Sci-fi clutter. So this is going to zip me up to the top of the skybox. You can see it's quite boxy here. And I'm going to use this height to walk over to the tram, which is supposedly disabled because there's supposedly no power, but if I get there, I can use it, so that's good enough for me. I'm navigating using the minimap. And that's about all there is to say to this skip. You just got to land in the right place and then kind of get yourself back in bounds. Other than that, like, I'm trying to think of how much time this skip actually saves, but it's a good probably 3-4 minutes because I don't have to fix up the peak whatever facility. I actually went a little bit too far right there. Now I'm back online.
So essentially he's trying to line up with this elevator symbol on the map here, and then, yep, that puts him right on top of the little glass cage box thing. And now we're going to try to basically clip back inbounds by going over top here.
What is going on here? There we go. Normally you want to kind of rub up against that little thing a bit in order to get kind of running on air. Like I was there to get over to the tram, but for whatever reason it didn't want to work for the first couple times.
It's also possible to fall off there, and then you have to do that entire void clip again.
Yep.
Which it's not fun.
I've done it.
Yep. So that was good that you managed to get that. I usually have a lot of trouble getting that consistently. I'll do a quick save before I even try to do the clip back and bounce.
another safety quick save there because one marathon run I got teleported to, I think, kind of an anti-cheat, anti-piracy place. It's only happened to me once, and but it was just this little area where it's like a white tile room, and you're stuck there.
I've never heard of that.
I've found it a couple times out of bounds, but I've only ever had it happen to me once in a run.
Also, I like that Caden is actually proper, but everyone else is still...
Yeah, by moving your camera around, you can get people to get normal graphics again. The Arachnai, I'm just going to leave Captain Ventralis to it. He can handle it, I'm sure.
He's an adult.
It gives me sprint. We used to do a clip that also went up to the sky to get to Benezia, but it turns out this is about 7 seconds faster. So, yeah, we're going in through the restricted area instead.
And we get some XP, so...
XP and drops. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to get too much XP, but I do want to get some.
And we also do need to hit a certain credit threshold so we can buy something later on.
Yeah.
But that'll be for a couple planets later.
Well, the next one, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, it is the next one. I always get that mixed up.
So yeah, have to take another elevator here. Noveria has by far the most elevators of any of the planets in the speedrun. There are also these little kits here. I'm going to open those. Now I'm going to do something that I'm not sure if I'm going to start doing in runs or not, but I'm going to equip this edge pistol, and I'm going to put in some... I'm not going to put in any rounds. Okay, so I won't even have to do anything equip-wise later. I'm going to unlock Adrenaline Burst, leveling up. I'm going to unlock... which one is it? It's... Wow, my brain. Lift.
Need lift. Yeah, so we need lift for the Benezia fight because of the other Asaris. They are quite a pain if you don't have a way to stun them in some form or fashion. And luckily lift is just good enough, as well as having advanced throw. And it'll save us a whole lot of headache if the fight goes fine. It's a really, really difficult fight. It's honestly probably the hardest fight in the game, or the second hardest, one of the two.
I'd say second.
It's either, I'd say it's either this one or the one on the next planet. So here, we're going to be using throw on the Asari commandos as soon as we see them. Hope if what happens to prevent essentially what happens here.
Yeah, I got combo throw there. I actually got thrown at first, not by this Asari commando here, but by Benezia herself. And that was just really unlucky. Usually the throw that she uses doesn't hit me. Okay, I got the lift off, so I'm not going to die at least.
Yeah, this area is always really scary.
Alright, yeah, they're gonna need some help. So I didn't want to have to run over there so quickly, but I did because my allies just didn't do as well as they could have. That happens frequently. It is annoying. Not a whole lot you can do about it. I'm gonna head back here, pop a Singularity down there, and that's gonna take care of all of those guys. Now, I have an aiming glitch, and my allies are being dumb, but there we go. We're through the first part of the fight, and there's an autosave before this next one. So I'm going to throw Benezia, switch back to my pistol, and hopefully kill her quickly. Good.
Unfortunately, she got the barrier off, so that took a little bit longer. But
lift those guys. They might actually go out of bounds. This one got a little bit farther than I wanted her to, but that's alright.
I guess something that we didn't mention is that the Asari, if they do throw you, there is a chance that they just throw you straight out of bounds, and that can be a major problem. It's possible to clip back inbounds, but it's you're basically just hoping if that happens.
Really, the warp didn't kill this one. Okay.
Oh man, she found a little hidey hole there.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. They'll land out of bounds and they don't always get killed by the game. Just something you have to deal with. Now, there's a big decision in terms of the plot coming up right here. To save or kill the Arachni Queen, we are railroaded into one of them in any percent by, at least the new game version of any percent, by the way the game is coded on Pharos. We are basically forced into going Renegade, which is unfortunate because not only is the default dialogue option save, but the save cutscene is shorter by a good, like, 15 seconds or so. But fighting Saren at the at the end of the run is going to take a lot more time than this is going to lose. So we want to persuade him, and in order to get that persuasion, we need a certain amount of Paragon or Renegade points, and we can get just enough Renegade points over the course of the game if we kill the Arachni Queen. So press F. Pay your respects to the Bug Queen, who probably shouldn't die like this, but, you know, you do what you have to go fast sometimes. Whether it's scuba or killing bugs.
The Mass Effect speedrun definitely endorses kill the animals.
That it does. At least in New Game. New Game Plus, you actually want to save them because it's faster there. You have the persuade you need, like, right from the start, and so you don't need to do anything else but just pick the faster cutscene there.
Alright, and then here we're going to try to do another one of those weapon swap conversation skips.
Yep.
So he's probably doing it now. I'm guessing you've already started now.
Not yet. I do it during the load.
Okay. I usually start mine during this, so it's already buffering. But I'm also extremely paranoid.
Failed. I was a little bit slow getting the hitting the escape key to get the menu up. That's okay. That one doesn't really save any time.
It's the next one that's really...
Yeah. I don't know why I still go for that one, honestly.
It saves like a second. Like, it's...
If you remove the loads, it saves a very small amount of time.
Yeah. I do love all these shots of the Normandy flying off. Anytime I watch the cutscenes in this game, it always makes me wish that we, couldn't skip cutscenes in KOTOR sometimes, which is my primary game. But because there's these great cutscenes of the Ebon Hawk in that game, but they're all just skipped. BioWare had some amazing cutscenes for all their ships and stuff like that. I always really liked it. Which I guess total kind of side note, shoutouts to the BioWare community. It's where most of the Mass Effect stuff is held, so if you're interested in that, you can go learn about the BioWare community, and they'll help you out with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a community Discord, and cool people there. I may be a little biased, but it's a good place. I'm going to bring along Kaden and Tali. I used to bring along Ashley because she's a hit point sponge, but then I learned just how powerful punching Thorian creepers can be in not taking damage. So I do that now. As far as why the planet order is the way it is, we want to do this planet before we get Liara, because otherwise the cutscene skip at the end of it is incredibly difficult.
I don't know why, but I've always found it kind of funny that guy's like, hey, you go right past me, and then he just immediately gets hit by a missile.
I intentionally did not kill anything there because I don't want to gain too much XP. My allies may have killed 1 or 2 things, but it shouldn't be too much. So I should be good in terms of my XP thresholds.
It'll also be nice for on the way out. You can use those enemies to. You can use those enemies in order to give yourself sprint whenever you're leaving.
So that guy there, Ledra, I can't shop with him yet, but afterwards he's going to have a nice pistol. It'll be a stiletto, either 4 or 5. I want 4 because that's the one I can afford. If it's 5, then I can pretty much guarantee I won't have enough money. Also, there's this here, so instead of doing a whole long runaround, yeah, I'm basically at the Thorian now. I'm going to get Advanced Warp, I'm going to get Advanced Marksman, and I'm going to put a point in Vanguard in order to get a bit of a damage boost from that. So you want to be this level in order to get all of that stuff, skill point wise, but you don't want to be such a high level that you pretty much lock yourself into getting the more expensive stiletto. And if I don't get it, I'm not going to just like keep reloading and trying for it. I'm just going to do the old strats where I get a better pistol later. And that could be anything from something underwhelming to something pretty good. We'll see if that happens, what I get. But anyway, the Thorian fight. This is what I consider to be the hardest fight in the game. I'm going to be dealing with these Asari clones. They have biotics. They will throw you if they have a chance. You do not want that to happen. So I'm going to be using my own biotics to try to disable and kill them as quickly as I can each time. This one's nice and easy and fun. Goodbye.
Just throw it right off the edge. This whole entire section here is actually really precise. We need to kill a certain number of Thorian creepers for us to do a good enough amount of damage to the Thorian nodes. Now you can start shooting the nodes earlier if you want, but then it might be slower because you're not doing as much damage to it. So there's a fine line that you need to walk in terms of how many creepers to kill versus when do I start shooting the nodes. Yeah,
and the creepers all add a certain amount of damage resistance to each node. How much depends on how many are tied to each node. And the Asari clones always add a lot more. Okay, got her. I'm going to open this for loot. For money.
Not to mention that the Asari clones are extremely deadly compared to the Thorian creepers.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to kill them first, no matter what. The one thing I will say is that at least this combat is pretty consistent for the most part. Basically, all of the Thorian creepers spawn in the same spots. All the Asari spawn in the same spots. So once you kind of get used to that, then it's pretty consistent, and you can have a fairly nice fight. But it's still very difficult. Don't get me wrong. He also has to try to keep a close eye out for Caden and Tally's health, as well as his own, of course. But if one of them go down, then it's a pretty substantial DPS decrease, as well as now he'll have to take a bunch more damage. Another thing is that he's not using barrier here, since the creepers actually just do, I think, is it radiation or poison damage?
Poison.
Poison. And so because of that, that goes straight to the barrier. The only thing the barrier would block would be the Asari clone's pistol shots.
Yep.
But we kill her first anyway, so it's just kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, if I ever have to use a barrier, then that means I'm not being optimal. And I'm just trying to not die.
Oh, I don't think we've explained what Adrenaline Surge does.
It resets your cooldowns.
Yeah, it's a really good ability. Currently, it's got a really long cooldown. Unfortunately, or well, I guess for the sake of balance, luckily. But that's going to be really important for this fight for some of the later portions and for some of the other fights, like the Saren fight at the end as well. Spoilers. We fight the bad guy at the end.
We're on the right track.
So at this point, I'm getting close to recharge. Oh, that was the Asari clone already. Wow.
Yeah, you can see that missing an Asari clone can actually be pretty rough. Because you just get thrown down and now all the creepers can just swarm you and do all their damage to you. Hopefully this will be fine.
I got this. Tally's down, but I can deal with that at this point.
There's like, what, there's 1 or 2 more nodes left?
1.
1, yeah.
Go ahead and reset my abilities. Thank you, Caden.
Oh my gosh.
So every now and then the game just decides, oh, you need to, you're close to an enemy, so that means you want to melee, right? Because there is no dedicated melee button in this game, and that can be really annoying, as you saw there.
The creepers are like statues on the ground at first, and then they turn into actual enemies. But the game will still recognize them as an enemy, so you'll just punch nothing.
Yeah, that fight was pretty much textbook until the end when I was trying to kill that Asari clone. Or right before then when, the last 2 Asari clones.
Yeah, everything else about that was just about perfect, so I'd be pretty proud of that one. So now we get to watch a good spaghetti cutscene. Stuff happens, plots going on.
Yeah, you can interrupt it, but you get stuck in this area. If you interrupt it, then save and load here, and as far as we know, there's no way out of it.
If you know a way, please let us know. It's a very long cutscene.
We are all connected. Every living being united in a single glorious existence.
Since this is such a long cutscene, you got a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, I would like to use this opportunity to remind everyone that we're raising money for Save the Children in their Corona relief effort. And if you want to help us and support us in that, then please consider donating. We're really close to the $20,000, only $522 left if I did my math correctly. Would be really awesome if we can maybe reach this within the next hour. And of course, there's still more stuff coming up. We got Halo and Halo 2 coming up after this. And then the grand finale of this marathon will be GTA San Andreas Crowd Control, where you can make Joshimus' life living hell by donating and getting crowd control chips, I think, or coins it's called. And these you can use to make the games do stuff that he doesn't like, and then he has a really rough time. So, if you want to make a speedrunner's life hell, imagine you could donate right now to make AlecK's life really bad in the speedrun.
I don't even know how you'd handle crowd control in Mass Effect, to be honest. Alright, so now I'm going to... Come on. So sometimes the menu here kind of gets weird.
Sometimes the menus in general are kind of weird.
Yeah, so there I have the Stiletto 4. That means I have the weapon I want for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the Stiletto 4 is really good. It's a major DPS increase for us, so and not getting that is a pretty big deal for the run.
Yeah, there's some chests later on in Virmire, which means there are a couple fights in the meantime that you wouldn't have it for. And those chests are random, so you could get something like this, you could get something worse. You're rolling the dice.
So now we'll just run past all these guys again, because we don't care, and we just want to go fast.
Yep. So this cutscene skip that I fortunately don't have to do is the hardest of all the post-planning cutscenes. I would have had to get my weapon out already, then I would have had to do 2 buffers, the first of which is really hard, and save and load twice.
And it barely saves any time, so most runners don't do it, because it's like a second to a half, like maybe a second and a half time save.
It's significantly more if you have Liara around, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
Ah, okay.
Because she looks at the information there, and there's a cutscene. So now I'm going back here to find out about Virmire. I'm not going to go there yet, but that's just, the council saying, hey, we found out this thing because he did 2 planets.
And we're about to do another Mako section.
Yeah, this is...
I like this one a lot more.
Yeah, this one actually has some stuff to do in it. And there are 2 tricks in it, actually. One, I'm going to be doing probably a 20-second skip. It's not a huge time save, but you just jump... Yeah, it looks cool. You jump over a thing, and then later on I'm going to take the Mako somewhere where it's not supposed to be, and that's the trickier one by far. What? Oh, I accidentally right-clicked. Okay. Bringing along Tally and Caden as usual.
This also has probably my favorite voice line that Caden does in the run. Which is right before the jump.
Yup.
It's so good. So yeah, more bouncy house shenanigans. Mostly just trying to control the Mako. Something worth noting is that any time spent in the air, unless it's like to skip something, is typically slower than trying to keep all 6 wheels on the ground. So anytime like we're driving around, we're trying to look for the most optimal path that allows us to bounce the least.
Or at least make sure whichever bounces put you back on the ground really quickly. And that's going to be the case with most of them, fortunately. It's just there are certain parts where you want to make sure that you're not clipping a little bit of terrain like that. Or like that.
Got another minute during this driving section?
If you want to do it after the jump that's coming up, I think that would be the best place. So that's coming up in about just 15 seconds or so. So then you'll have a good couple minutes.
You gonna go for the shot? Nice.
I pretty much always go for it. I don't need to kill all those guys. But anyway, Caden, what do you have to say about this?
I don't think we can take that strong point head on.
So good, dude.
This is a bit iffy. Okay, we're good. So I could have gotten stuck inside the thing there, and I've done so in hilarious ways in the past. But fortunately, that did not happen. Keep my squad from shooting the Mako, so I have less damage on it, and go ahead.
Alright. If this marathon has got you in the mood of speedrunning, maybe consider trying out one of the new games of Upper Room Games, one of our sponsors. It's called Wavy the Rocket. If you type !Wavy the Rocket in chat, you get more information about that, and if you beat the speedrunning challenge in that game, they will donate $10 towards our cause. So you can try a new game, which is currently on sale during this marathon, do some speedrunning, and help charity. And we also got a $5 donation from Strife the Historian saying, "Hey Alec, hey Chaos, couldn't help but donate for this amazing run. Love to see Mass Effect games run at marathons. Keep being awesome. Thank you." And of course those $5 also go towards Save the Children and their Corona relief effort. Thank you so much for that donation. And we're now a little bit closer to the $20,000. We still need $517 to reach that, which would be really awesome if we can do that within the next couple minutes.
Sometimes I get a little bit of a bounce going up there like that. It's just the inconsistencies of terrain and collision in the Mako sections. But I knocked down the Colossus, so I didn't have to worry about taking much damage there anyway. Also, shoutouts to Strife, he's a cool person. We mentioned the BioWare speedrunning community earlier. He is involved in that. A bit more involved in other Mass Effect games than one, but I don't hold that against him. The other Mass Effect games, by and large, are quite good.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 actually has a pretty big following in the speedrunning community for it, so it's a little bit faster. I think that most of the runners right now are doing New Game Plus right now. Yeah.
I think that's probably the most active one. There are a lot of potential categories, and then there's a speedrunning mod that makes it really nice for speedrunning, cuts out a lot of the excess stuff that unfortunately can't really be removed feasibly from this game. So I'm coming up on the harder trick here. I'm going to kill all these guys so that I can do a quick save here, because it is possible to soft lock doing that. And if I do that, I want to be able to just reload a save right before it. So I'm going to wedge the Mako in here. This might work. Okay, back up a little bit. Cool, first try.
Oh my god, dude. What? Come on, dude. That trick is really hard. I've spent probably like multiple minutes in a PB before trying to get that one clip. It is super precise, and there's a lot of ways that it can go wrong, and he just does it. I think I've watched like 3 or 4 runs of yours like over the last couple days, and you've gotten it first try every time. What?
I have not been doing it first try consistently like that in practice, though, so if that makes you feel any better. I would definitely say that is the hardest trick in the run. Also, that section after it is quite tricky. You saw me taking it slow. I took it slow for a reason, but that, even for going slow, was really quick there. It's just a matter of kind of managing your direction, your momentum, and not getting hung up on things too much and too badly. Also, the AI is going to be borked here in a second, because you're not supposed to be in the Mako here, and the game just doesn't quite handle it right. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot the armature to do a bunch of damage, because you do actually have to kill all this Geth in order to enter the mine. And the Mako does a lot of damage. I missed the ramp.
Oh.
Wow. That is silly. Anyway, that was a really good Mako section, and now we're on the on-foot section. Getting close to Liara, just got a few Geth to kill, a couple elevators that will take us down there, and I'm not going to take them because I don't want to take them, and I don't have to. They're slow.
Yeah, Liara is currently trapped, and she needs some help. She's kind of in a weird situation right now. We'll see what's going on.
Also, I just threw the railing.
Yeah, that happens. Luckily, that fight's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and
we've got the stiletto.
There are a few triggers that we have to get around here. I have to be able to use the mining laser in order to be able to progress, if I can also speak. So I'm going to have to be able to use it, but I can't use it because there are Geth in the area that aren't loaded yet. Also, here's Liara. She's a bit stuck in the floor right now.
She's not as stuck in the floor as she is on my runs. Usually she's like all the way down to her neck, and you can only see her head.
That's awesome.
You hear me up there? I am trapped. I need help.
Also, she thinks she might be hallucinating us. Oh, come on. Start combat. There we go. Because we're doing this planet after doing at least 2 others. Just some funny little dialogue because she's been in there in a while. Like, oh great, I'm starting to hallucinate.
So now this is one of the strangest RNG sections in the run. Like you go a lot farther out than I do for that. I usually just hang out right next to the mining lasers after lunch yelled at me.
I went that far because because of the position he was in.
Okay. So yeah, this is essentially just a Simon Says code entering. It's completely RNG, and sometimes you just get the exact pattern right first try. Sometimes you have to go through every single different combination.
And it usually doesn't just go something as simple as up, down, up, down, up, down, up, or whatever that was. Like, usually there's some other directions thrown in there.
4 lefts in a row. That was kind of weird.
So
it's like someone's password just being AAAAB.
Yeah, so now that the Geth are out of the way and the mining laser has been used, I can progress and I can clip in there. Needed to kill the Geth to use the mining laser and to be able to save in the area to do the clip, and I needed to use the laser in order to progress. So now there's a Krogan here that I like his dialogue. I like the cut of his jib. But he can be tricky if you fight him early. Fortunately, this is the 3rd planet, and we have a powerful weapon now, so he's a bit of a chump.
That's okay, we get to fight him, and that would be more fun.
Indeed. Throw, switch back to the pistol, because of dialogue skipping taking me away from it. Drop him. There we go.
Something worth noting is that this cutscene, unlike every other cutscene in the game, is extremely loud. I think that you've got yours fixed, but essentially you have to, like, instead of like turning down the in-game settings, you have to turn all the in-game settings all the way up, and then turn your regular sound down. It's just strange.
That's how I have it set to begin with. So, I've been dealing with tech stuff on this game. Like, I first started running it in would have been late 2013. So, back when iGod here was like the GTA 3 guy. I actually verified one of his runs on SDA. That should show you how old I am.
Oh wow, okay, thank you for that.
There we go. Got the cutscene skip.
Nice. That's a really long cutscene, so if he doesn't get that skip there, then we basically have to watch the spaghetti cutscene that we watched before about witnessing reality or whatever. Something about the Protheans plot.
Fun thing about not quite having the area load properly is you have that little hiccup when you go through the door, and the game just has everything black and you can kind of see through things a little bit. That it loads, and you're good to continue. Now it's on to Virmire. Virmire is basically a 2-part thing. Oh, kind of three parts, really. I am intentionally not bringing Liara along yet. She is going to be part of my ending party, but I want to level her up in a certain way, and in order to do that optimally, I'm going to avoid bringing her in until I absolutely have to. But, of course, we have a long Mako section here, and really the only tech in it, if you will, is later on in it. So, we have a couple minutes.
Much to say here.
Alright. Well, lucky for you, I have some things to say. First of all, thank you for verifying my SDA run all these years back.
No problem, dude.
And we have a $5 donation from Kamado72 saying, "Good luck on the run, Alec."
Thank you.
Thank you for those $5. And yeah, of course, those $5 go again towards Save the Children and their Corona relief effort, which they do in about 100 countries around the world. So they help out pretty much everywhere they can. And yes. Yeah, I mentioned the speedrunning challenge earlier, so if you got interest in speedrunning because of the marathon now, you can type in !Wavy the Rocket in the chat for some more information about one of our sponsors called Upper Room Games. Their new 3D slide... oh god. 3D side-scrolling action arcade game, Wavy the Rocket, is currently on sale, and you can play it, and if you beat the speedrunning time, they will donate $10 towards Save the Children. So you can do some speedrunning, play a cool game, and help us out. And we're still only $512 away from the $20,000, which would be amazing to reach. So yeah, if you've been enjoying this marathon the last couple days, maybe consider donating. Of course, only if you can. During these times, not everyone is able to. And yeah, that would be great. It's our last day. We'll be finishing off with some more Halo after this, Halo 1 and Halo 2. And then the grand finale, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas by Joshimus, where we'll be doing a crowd control run. If you haven't seen those the last couple nights, usually, for European time, roughly, it's a speedrun where you can use coins that you get from crowd control to make stuff happen in the game and make his life hard. So if you want to see a speedrun where the runner tries his best, but you just make everything impossible for him, then make sure to tune in for that later on. Thank you so much.
This
Yeah,
area is
I'm looking
actually
forward to
really
that.
scary, by the way.
Yeah, so those Geth Destroyers, they can really do a number on you with their melee attacks. They also have shotguns, and this is the one bit of tech.
Nice.
My hand actually slipped earlier, which is why I started going off towards the ramp. But what you actually want to do is you want to park here so that the place that you can interact with the Mako in order to get in it is within range of you up top.
Something I wanted to bring up real quick. I have never seen someone hop over the barrier like that. That was impressive, sir.
That was a backup strat, but I've done it
That was-
before.
That was very strange that the missile didn't destroy it. If you want to know what I'm talking about, there was those 10 shields earlier, and he shot a missile at it, and usually shooting one missile at it will destroy all 10 of them.
I must have
Right.
shot between them both times that I tried. Also, I didn't want to get fatigued there, but that cost only a couple seconds, I would say, altogether. Just something that happens sometimes. I was more concerned with making sure I dealt with the destroyers, so I guess that's my excuse.
Once again, the Mako sections are still kind of boring. This is probably the most boring of all the Mako sections, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's pretty.
That or the Noveria one, like those are the ones that really aren't terribly interesting. Although the Therum one has a bit in the middle where you're just kind of driving and there's nothing you can really do. So who should I save? Who should I kill? What do you think, Cass?
I mean,
So what am I
I'm
supposed to do?
biased, so I've never been a fan of Ashley, honestly. Sorry, Ashley fans, but I don't know. I've never been a big fan of her. And Caden is better because he has biotics.
I thought the speedrun is a girl power run. How can you kill Ashley?
I don't have time for you to fight, so I'll just kind of spam this quick. Okay, it did end up being take Ashley. If I'd been a little bit quicker, it might have selected the default option before switching over to the one that my cursor memory was at, and I would have sent Caden to the place that ends up getting killed instead.
You could still go save Ashley. I mean,
But that would be
what's
slow.
stopping you?
That
Oh,
would be
you're right.
slow.
You're right. It would be slow.
So still not bringing along Liara for this section. She'll be forced to be in the next section.
All right. Do you do the new fast method of getting around here, or do you go? There's some method of walking around here that lunch yells at me every single time that I do this. I never understand how I'm supposed to run around here, so I'm interested to see your route. I think this is the way.
This is the way I've always gone.
Let's see here. Yeah, okay, this is the way that lunch wants me to. This is the faster way that I don't take.
Yeah, I'm guessing you go left earlier.
Yeah, in the tutorial that Letters made a long time ago, he takes a slightly different route, but it's slightly slower, and I've never learned that route.
Really?
I think
I didn't know
doing
he took a different route in the tutorial. That's interesting.
It's about 5 seconds slower from what she says. Which I guess just to explain real quick, Lunch-esque is the current world record holder for Mass Effect 1. And he's really active, so if you are interested in learning this, he will be more than happy to answer some questions. And I'm sure he'd really like to get back on the grind for this game, so if someone could take that from him.
Yo nastoyashi человек.
Let's see. Although currently he's on that Mass Effect 2 grind. This one security console here is really finicky. It never really wants you to click on it properly.
Yeah. Also, you want to make sure to say they can handle it because, not because you can't handle the extra geth that spawn, but because
you need the renegade points.
Yeah, that's 9 renegade points, and that actually does make the difference between getting and not getting enough.
Yep. And this is just some more combat. We're gonna do another. This actually is kind of an interesting one. If you can do this really fast, you can leave before the husks spawn. Let's see if it happens.
I had what happened to my run last night.
Guy.
So, for whatever reason, the husks just didn't activate, and you do actually need them to activate.
Yeah.
Or at least the first one. And that's when you can get the game scripting messed up and get through there. So I don't want to do boring plot stuff. Instead, I'm just going to kind of sidle up to this bridge and walk through it.
Yep, the collision's still there as if the bridge was there, but it's just that it kind of has like a wall that's up while the bridge is showing that it's up. So luckily we're able to clip through. Where did that missile come from? Did you grenade your... No, you didn't.
I grenaded.
Oh, okay. I looked away for just a second. I was so confused. I'm like, what? How? Who shot you?
So there are 3 or 4 chests down there, and those are the ones that I would have used if I hadn't got the stiletto. You can pretty much guarantee that you'll get 1 decent pistol, and maybe even 1 or 2 good ones.
Have you put on any of the extra ammo types yet, or no?
Nope.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah, the ammo types make a huge difference for this game and can greatly increase your DPS. There's been times that I've put on the armor piercing or the there's one that's specifically for Geth. I can't remember what the name of it is right now.
Shredder is the one that you were thinking of. That is for organics. For Geth, it is the one that you actually said. The
anti-personnel.
Yeah.
Armor.
But anyway, if I go in here, I might have that. So this is the time when I would want to do it. I'll do chemical rounds because that's more damage, and kinetic stabilizer, I guess, whatever. I kind of just went on a selling spree, and so if I had taken a little bit more time, I might have had a little more damage against a couple things, but it's not a huge deal, actually.
Yeah, at this point, we're pretty powerful. The only thing that we need more damage for is really just the boss fights, and maybe like the big geths, like the armatures, the juggernauts.
And they do take toxic damage, so this is actually perfectly fine.
Yeah, the radioactive rounds are good. Are you going to be using Tally later on, or are we about to say goodbye to her for the rest of the run?
I'm probably going to use her. Anyway, okay. Something I almost forgot to do. I want to switch off auto-leveling.
Oh, man, that would have been rough.
So, it would have stopped me from doing a skip on the next planet. Also, I kind of messed with the sound effect there and desynced it. That's funny. I think I might try to start doing that now because I like it. Anyway, I want to be able to manually level up Liara. I'm going to give her max singularity and max lift. You don't have to do lift. You can save a few seconds by auto-leveling her after that. But I like to give her max lift as a backup for the final boss. So I'm forced to bring her now because I only have 2 squad members that aren't occupied with something. I'm going to go ahead and level myself up first. I'm going to grab 9 points in Intimidate, and then I'm going to max out Marksman, and I'm going to, undo. Misclick, apparently. I want to max out Throw and Marksman, and the rest I'm just going to put in Lift for now, because it'll be useful before I level up again. I'm going to go ahead and unlock Lift and Singularity.
And now with this, we're about to become just absolutely disgustingly powerful. And this next combat really shows off just how good Master Singularity is.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a hard fight without Master Singularity, but it's just laughably easy with it. That with the Master Marksman. Yep. So she uses Singularity, and everyone that was in that AOE then just goes flying in the sky.
Yep.
I think we're done here.
And we're not just giving her. We're not giving her Singularity just for that. We're giving it to her for a skip, kind of like I mentioned earlier on the next
planet.
planet.
That's just a good consequence.
Sent reinforcements.
Heads up, Thorian here.
Alright, yeah, I mean, you can change your mind. You can go save Ashley if you want. Okay, alright, never mind.
Always the left option, because that takes you back to the bomb, and you can get to the bomb without having to take the elevator back. And fun fact, if you remember when the Geth had their AI borked on Therum, well, that is the case again.
Yeah, I guess their AI is tied to whenever the door opens or something. But,
Commander, set that nuke and get out.
yeah, they just don't work here.
Mm-hmm.
So here we do need to have a specific string of dialogue options. So that's why we've needed to get all these Renegade points. So that way we can get this one and then another one later. If we miss this one, then we're not able to get the later Renegade option.
Yeah, you don't get enough Renegade points to get to max Persuade or Intimidate. So you have to count on what you get, and that means we have to pass this check, which requires 9, and lowers the last one to 9 as well. This one, right there.
Sovereign will betray you. No. This fight's also pretty easy. Therum kind of just melts to us. It certainly helps having Master Marksman, because you can just shoot essentially forever.
Like, you saw how long it took before I had to really slow down my shooting.
This is probably my favorite cutscene for the memes. Just had so many good and awkward angles.
Not to mention when you don't even use a pistol, and then Shepard takes out a pistol.
Caden just looks so uncomfortable. So now we've got a lot of work that we have to go do on the Citadel. This is actually one of the longest sections in the entire run. We're going to be here for quite a while we take care of a bunch of things here.
Yeah, quite a while, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got the weapon glitch again. So I'm holding a non-existent weapon.
Nice.
Forwarded the mission up.
Am I just playing the game wrong? I never get these glitches.
I'm not sure exactly what causes that, but it actually, if you do certain things with it, I think it's trying to fire. Something causes bad consequences, like I don't remember if it's actually a soft lock or what, but something you don't want to do.
It's just politics, Commander. You've done your job, now
It's
let me
just
do
politics,
mine.
Commander.
We've locked out all the Normandy's primary systems until further notice.
You gonna tell Udina off?
Nobody's.
Yep. Not going to listen to the dialogue, but So it doesn't matter who I bring along here.
Yeah, we just need to take care of a few things here.
So
like
you're gonna look out. There's Ambassador Udina. You know what? Screw that. I don't want to deal with him.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying.
So yeah. Let's find a way around him, shall we? A little bit that way. That's fine.
Yeah. So currently, we're no longer allowed to enter into the Normandy because it's politics, and it's a little bit advanced for us. So instead. We're just gonna void walk right back into it. Seems like a much better time.
Oh wow, I missed. Okay, that's alright. I can save this.
Oh. This is actually once again kind of a precise void walk.
Oh wow. Okay, I know exactly how to save this now. That's alright.
Yeah, so what the goal is that like the place where you stand at the beginning of this void walk is going to be exactly where you want to fall into. That way you just don't move and you land in the correct spot. But it looks like we got to do some finagling here to try to maneuver into where the Normandy is at. As long as we can land on top of it, this will work somehow, right?
Okay. There we go. I think, nope. I had it.
Oh, it was close.
Ah, really?
Oof.
I don't know how I got it messed up this badly.
It looks like you were basically like just a little bit off from the Normandy, and that can
if I go this way,
it makes this trick a lot more difficult. And unfortunately, there's not really a good backup to this.
There we go. See, this is where I wanted to land, roughly.
Perfect. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go around this way, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We in there. Sheesh. Every now and then, that clip just gives me fits.
1 second. I'll be right back.
So I lost a good minute and a half plus there. I can tell you that right now, just based on how many times I had to try it. So we'll see what happens with my estimate as a result.
Alright, sorry. Doggo needed to go out.
Anyway, it's on to Ilos. After we learn about something happening on the moon that we don't have to worry about.
This is another pretty cool cutscene, I think. Once again, all the space cutscenes I think are just so pretty in this game. Really did such an awesome job for, was it early mid 2000s when this game came out?
More like 2006, 2007. Yeah, I'll bring Tally. I brought Caden last night.
I'm thinking when KOTOR came out.
Yeah.
That was early 2000s.
So on Ilos, there are two sections. There's one where you kind of have to run around in order to open up this section. Unfortunately, we can't really clip onto the other side of it with a Mako, or at least there's not a way that we know of. So we do have to kind of do that section. And then there's a Mako section. Now, I'm going to be spat out outside the Mako, and I'm going to immediately get in the Mako and drive it back because I want to do a little bit less walking later. I didn't get in the Mako before the dialogue. That's okay, though.
Yeah, that's a small time save there. Just so that way it'll be a little bit less walking. And then this combat is kind of tricky. We want to kill a certain number of these guys, so that way we can get out of combat and hopefully not attract the attention of the two.
Yeah, there are armatures over there. You don't want to go off that way or shoot. There's my safety save, and I'm going to lift up this box.
This is a very precise trick.
It's not that bad, I would say. So now I'm on top of the box, and I'm going to hit a singularity. Now these boxes are going to move. I have to kind of keep on them. Here, do a quick safety save just because this is a marathon run. And yes, I do use both boxes. This... Yeah, I might be able to... Okay. Okay. That is probably not savable. Nope. That's why I safety saved. So, I got a bad entry into the area you want to clip into. And it didn't let me get more towards the middle of that. And now I just straight up clipped through the ground. Really?
Yes. So we're either looking to clip like right in between the two, like going through and then onto the ground, or clip on top of the ceiling onto the white box, and then you can clip back and bounce there.
I just got bumped off by a party member. Oh my god.
This trick is pretty precise. Like I said, there's a lot of ways that it can go wrong.
Okay, 9 times out of 10, I just do it, and I have there we go. But apparently the game has it in for me right now because that's 2 straight tricks that it's giving me trouble with.
You're just much more consistent with the tricks than I am, I think. I miss that trick a lot. I've reset so many runs to that, which is really unfortunate considering how deep it is into the run. But that's the last major clip in the run. So most everything else.
Second to last.
There's one more clip, but it's not nearly as like.
It's actually bigger. It skips more.
Well, it skips more, but it's not hard.
It isn't hard at all. Also, how the heck do I have 4 grenades?
Okay.
I got a lot of grenade drops, apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so you can use a couple of grenades here at the end, I guess. Definitely do one after, what's his name? The robot that you speak to.
Vigil, yeah.
Vigil, that's right.
Yeah, this run was going...
Maybe you can consider using this before.
This run was going pretty well up until those 2 tricks just decided that they weren't going to cooperate. I would have had an outside shot at 140, probably just eyeballing it.
And that's kind of the nature of this game, is that, if you get all the tricks, you'll get a really good time. And then if you don't get the tricks, that's it. But they're pretty far spread out.
And when I say sub 140, I mean with loads removed, so it would be more like a 142 or high 141 in pure RTA. So you may have noticed that we have the graphical bug again. Again, this is just caused by drivers, but it leads to some fun things, especially here. Oh, come on.
Yeah, it does actually make some of the shooting easier if you want to do that. However, it's not... Oh my goodness. That's glorious.
I love doing that.
But of course, any of the XP at this point is no longer necessary. We're not going to be doing any more level ups or anything like that.
Nope. Well, I am going to do one more level up to max my lift for the final boss. Okay. But that's it.
Yeah. You should have enough XP anyways.
Oh, I have plenty.
Yeah. I always forget about that level up.
What is happening?
Maybe that's why my Saren fights are so bad.
Yeah, you want to have good lift duration for the Saren fight. Well, I call it Sovereign because of spoilery reasons, but yeah.
Plot, Stuff happens. He looks like Saren. Talks like Sovereign. Whatever. A little bit of A, a little bit of B, right?
Actually, yeah.
Normally you wouldn't do that grenade there, because most runs you only have one grenade left, and you'll use the grenade going back.
Nah, it saves a little more time going down to him. Not much, but a little.
But there's so many grenades.
I was able to do both. If I only have one grenade there, like I said, I will use it on the way down, because you can use up the full sprint getting to him.
See, I usually find the opposite. I find that I can't use the whole sprint unless I'm going up. As long as you use the full sprint, though, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And so this is the last Mako section. I mean, there's not really that much to talk about. There's one small trick that we're doing in order to save a tiny bit of time.
This is going to be probably the best last chance for Ide to get in a word, so if you have anything to say, have at it. Otherwise, we can keep talking.
Alright, I actually have a few things to say. We got some donations. We have a $150 donation from Head Dragon saying good luck for the rest of the marathon. Thank you so much for that, bringing us even closer to the 20,000. And we have a $5 donation from Jacob Klich saying, hey there Alec, hey Chaos, loving this run and I love that this marathon is going on for this amazing charity. Keep up the amazing work y'all. And of course that amazing charity is still Save the Children for the Corona relief effort. And thank you so much for all these donations, even the small ones. And we're even closer now to the 20k, only $357, quick math. So maybe we can reach it within the next 20 minutes, who knows? Would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool. So we're coming up on easily the best section of seeing this glitch. Because as fun as it is watching these guys fly around like that, the conduit is affected, and it is something else. Are you ready? I'm also going to jump into this cut.
I'm ready when I see it.
I'm also going to jump into this cutscene because I want to go a little bit farther before the game stops me.
Yeah, we'll be able to maintain the momentum.
Oh wow! I had a partial physics glitch. I thought it was controlling a little bit weird, so I didn't get any height really.
Oh, that is something that's kind of worth mentioning. It is possible for like there to be really weird physics glitches with the Mako, and either like you get stuck to the ground really hard, which is a physics glitch we usually want, or you can all of a sudden just start flying off into random directions.
Yeah, and you can tell you have it. Yeah, you can tell you have it when the Mako jets just don't really work, the Mako will just kind of be bouncing a lot visually when it normally wouldn't. I got a weird kind of half version of it where the jets kind of still worked apparently, but I saw myself bouncing around a little bit more than usual, and then that's weird. I've never had it kind of half happen like that.
One thing, if you're bored and you want to find something kind of just funny to watch, there's a bunch of great videos of people who have gotten these glitches, and you can just look up Mako flying, and it's just like the Mako just in the air, just twirling around, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. If you know how to do that on command and just make it happen in your run, please let us know. It'd be awesome. We could probably do something with that. But yeah, so the graphics are a little funky here, needless to say. It's actually not as bad as it usually looks whenever I see this. Sometimes it's like just this one giant blob. It's not coherent looking at all.
So this is the end for the Mako. It's gonna get a couple last kills here.
Just like how most of its kills were, running over Geth.
And now, yeah, we're back on the Citadel trying to save everything. Gotta get to Saren. Got some husks here that I gotta kill. I can still examine the dragon's teeth because I skipped a part on Eden Prime where you are kind of quote-unquote intended to examine them. Oh, that one didn't die. Okay, there we go. So it doesn't look like it, but there's a corner right here. And yeah, that's going to put me on top of this little section.
Is that actually what it is? There's a corner there? I actually didn't know that.
That is actually a corner. And now I'm just going to fall down. There's a whole bunch of running around and a couple annoying fight sequences that you would otherwise have to do. But instead, I'm just right to this section with the turrets.
Yep, and you want to land right on top of that little gun railing spot there. That way you can walk off. If you land on pretty much anywhere else here, you won't be able to get back in bounds. So that's a little bit precise, but it's still pretty free, unless you're me.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Basically, it's just a matter of lining yourself up right.
Yep. Exactly. I just always forget where to go in that one. It's usually like, oh man, I'm at the end of the run. What am I supposed to do again? This run's long, man.
Means you gotta practice.
Yeah. One of these days. Alright, we're coming up on the final fight. So all of the renegade points that we've been accumulating, that conversation that we had with Sarah earlier, is all leading up to this one point here for this conversation. It's going to skip the whole first phase of this boss fight, which is absolutely fantastic. It's actually a really good dialogue, too, for the renegade option.
Yeah, so Saren's been indoctrinated by the Reapers, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. But if you're persuasive enough, you can get him to break through just long enough to do something, and he does pretty much the only thing he can.
Now my doubts. The Reaper. Goodbye, Shepherd. Thank you.
Intentionally not taking things too quickly in that dialogue because I don't want to accidentally select the default option in any one of them. That would obviously wreck that whole sequence and I would have to fight him.
Also, shoutouts to the music for this game because I just love the soundtrack for that spot. It really is just solid.
Right here, I have a choice to either save or ignore the console. And I'm going to pick the shorter cutscene, which is saving the console.
Alliance ships, move in. Save the Destiny Ascension.
Yep, so we just have a couple more cutscenes to watch, and then we have the final boss fight, and then that's it.
Yeah, I guess we actually do have probably about a minute worth of cutscenes before I get dumped into the final boss. The way the final boss fight is going to go is I'm essentially going to try to just stun lock him with lift. I'm going to tell one of my party members to lift him, and then I'm going to use lift. I have Adrenaline Rush, so I'll be able to... not Adrenaline Rush. Or is it? Whatever. Anyway, I can reset my cooldowns, and between all of this, I should have plenty of lift time to finish him off.
Yeah, with having all the biotic abilities, it makes this fight pretty free, but it can still be a pain if you miss one of them, because then it turns into just like trying to track him really hard.
He jumps around, he has strong attacks. If you don't immobilize him, he's actually a fairly legit final boss, but
biotics kind of make it a joke.
He's dead.
He is dead, but the Reaper tech in him ain't.
Yeah. Tried his best. Another thing that can happen in this fight is that I think this happens in the second phase, or the final phase of this fight, is that he'll overload your main gun, or whichever one you're holding on to. So that's also something to keep in mind, because if that happens, and you already had marksman, your master marksman up, that can be a huge DPS decrease, and it's kind of a pain if it happens. Since we can't use any other gun really against them. I mean, we can, but just nothing else is comparatively as good as what we got with Stiletto.
Oh, he did it right away. That happened to me in my run last night, too. So,
it happens.
What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to wait this out. I'm going to Adrenaline Rush right now.
Before
just
your marksman?
Keep stun locking him. We're good. Okay.
Nice. Okay, that's phase 1 done. Or well, I guess it's technically phase 2. Whatever.
Yeah. So there's going to be a cutscene, and then time is going to be on the final hit in this next section. So it's coming up fairly soon.
Yep. As long as nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Negative. This is our only chance. Take that monster down no matter what the cost.
Yep, so it's just the same strat again, just pushing and throwing
I glitched. The game wouldn't let me shoot.
Oh no. Alright, so now it's going to be trying to track him and hopefully getting enough stuns still on him.
Nope, hasn't come back.
Okay.
So, because I had to use Adrenaline Surge earlier, I don't have it right now.
And this is when the fight starts actually getting scary. It's whenever you run out of the thumb locks.
Okay.
Nice, there you
now
go.
It's just a matter of shooting him, because everything recharged. And...
Yep, right up.
Time. Ugh. Well, that run really did not have a good end.
GG, sir. GG.
Thank you. The last planet that went really well at all was Virmire, and even that wasn't ideal. But oh well.
Even so, I think it was still a pretty good run. You managed to get most of the tricks. There were just a few things that went wrong, but that's kind of, the standard for this kind of a run.
And it's usually things I don't expect to go wrong, and a lot of these things were things I didn't expect to go wrong, so in that sense it's not surprising. But hopefully you all enjoyed. Thanks for having me, and I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Thanks for being on. Yeah, maybe you're not super happy with your run, but I got a quick $5 endorsement from Asti saying, I am Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite run during the ESA Marathon.
Well, thank you.
So at least Commander Shepard liked it.
There you go.
Alright, thank you so much for being on, and we're gonna head off into intermission.